Hello everyone, this is Team 9 and we'll be talking about the article The Resource-Based View and International Business by Mike Peng. This is the presentation outline. We'll be talking about these topics in our presentation. Let's start. This article addresses three key questions. First is how significant has RBV, resource-based view, RBV has grown. The major addition to the RBV's literature in IB from 1991 to 2000 will be mapped out in order to provide an answer to this topic. The second query focuses on causes of RBV diffusion in IB. Mike Peng proposed drawing on the literature on the diffusion of innovations that the RBV may be viewed as theoretical innovation whose characteristics encourage its diffusion. To comprehend the diffusion of the RBV, one must be aware of the development of the strategy and IB domains. And lastly, what is the current state of the art of RBV research in IB? Mike provided an organizing structure to analyze the substantive work in order to determine what fresh insights have been obtained in order to respond to this topic. The examination of potential future directions for RBV development in IB serves as the conclusion to this essay. Moving on, Mike, by focusing on articles in prestigious IB journals that cited two important RBV studies, Barney 1991 and Werner Felt 1984, between 1991 and 2000, a citation-based technique is employed to demonstrate the extent of which the RBV has permeated IB research. Mike started by looking at the Journal of International Business, JIBS, one of the top venues of business research, which has regularly been regarded as the top journal in IB. Then, given the Strategic Management Journal's SMJ, considerable IB work, and the RBV's strategy background, Mike put all IB work in SMJ. The AMJ, AMR, JM, JMS, and Organization Science, OS, all of which have been identified as the major forums, were the final five mainstream management publications he evaluated. Such an approach has the advantages of one, clear and controllable emphasis on publications as international management, two, relative objectivity, and three, compliance with well accepted academic criteria in determining the influence of a body of work. But due to IB's interdisciplinary nature, the disadvantage is the impossibility to exhaust IB research in non-management areas. However, as management is claimed to have the most impact on IB research of all business disciplines, this disadvantage is not thought to be important. Overall, it is thought that this strategy's advantages outweigh its disadvantages. Further, a total of 61 items are included in Table 1. The two important RBV papers got a total of 22 citations in 2000, up from 3 citations per year in 1991, which shows a healthy increase in their influence. In Figure 1, Social Science Citation Index was used to depict the cumulative citations to a significant RBV publication, Barney 1991, from 1992 through 2000 in order to further evaluate the RBV's influence on IB in comparison to other disciplines. When seen with such a large picture, the general rise of RBV's effect becomes more obvious, with a total of 526 citations to Barney 1991, 11% of which are IB works as of December 15, 2000. Mike analyzed both the total and adjusted appearances of authors whose work is listed in Table 1 in order to evaluate their individual contribution to this literature. He did this by following reviews of similar nature. According to the system, an article written by a single author receives full credit from both the author's institution and themselves. An article written by two writers receive half credit from author's institution, and so on. Table 2 lists all the researchers who made at least one adjusted appearances in these 7 prestigious journals from 1991 to 2000. Tolman had the most adjusted appearances of 2.83 and Peng had the most overall appearances of 5. These top experts represent a substantial international diversity overall. As of December 2000, Asian and European institutions each had 4 adjusted writers, while American universities dominated the list with 12 adjusted authors. France, Great Britain, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and the United States are represented among these top donors, demonstrating that RBV's research in IB's international scope. In conclusion, there is growing body of research on RBV in IB with contribution from many different authors and institutions throughout the globe, with summary serving as backdrop. The following part throws some insight into the factors that are fueling the RBV's expanding influence. As a result of the RBV's increasing influence, a significant argument has been made for and against the RBV status as a framework, with one side criticizing the RBV's lack of precise definition and explanatory power. Given the lack of consensus in this dispute about the RBV status, Mike said that the RBV is an innovation. This characterization made him think that even the RBV's detractors would concede that it's a theoretical breakthrough. The main issue is why, in spite of its flaws, the RBV ever attained a level of influence. Five specific traits of innovation, as seen by users, aid in the explanation of its dissemination. First, the diffusion of innovation happens more quickly the larger the apparent proportional advantages. Relative to conventional industry level variables, the RBV places a strong emphasis on firm level factors that affect company success. Second, an innovation's dispersion is also influenced by how well it fits with current ideals. The RBV extends five basic industrial organization economics theories of the company in addition to drawing on Penrose's behavioral observations. Third, straightforward innovations will be embraced more quickly. Although empirical research can be challenging, RBV reasoning appears to be deceptively straightforward and simple to grasp. Fourth, a high level of trialability, or the extent to which an innovation may be tried with on a limited basis, also aids in the diffusion of the innovation. And lastly, the JM and SMJ special issues in 1991, the Conference on Fundamental Issues in Strategy in 1990, and the Conference on Emerging Visions in IB in 1992, and the selection of Warner Fell's 1984 article as the SMJ's best paper in 1994, all have benefited the RBV. Overall, judgments about adopting innovations can be divided into three categories. 1. Voluntary decisions made by people. 2. Collective decisions reached by a group through consensus. 3. Authoritative decisions made by higher authorities. Mike also proposed that the RBV, as a theoretical invention, has all five of the most desired characteristics that are favorable to its proliferation, given its quick diffusion. The author proposed three factors that contribute to its diffusion. One, the innovative nature of IB researches. Two, the convergence of the IB and strategy research agendas. And three, the trajectories of two domains. First, IB is based in a wide range of disciplines and functional applications, yet willing to draw freely from the other fields as a field of great diversity and vitality. Second, the primary study problems that IB and strategy academics are interested in are becoming more and more similar. Finally, the RBV's dispersion may have been aided by the intersection of disciplinary paths. Strategy underwent an opposite transition during the 1970s and 1980s, shedding its early management origins and increasingly relying on IO economics thinking. This occurred as IB moved away from economics to embrace management. Given that both fields are in search of a theory, it appears that IB and strategy found common ground through the RBV. As a result, international strategy research has virtually exploded. The next part aims to clear the air following this explosion.
To provide a substantive review of the emerging RBB literature in IB, we will first identify four areas of central interest in recent work, organized according to a 2 by 2 matrix along the dimensions of firm size and international sophistication. These are MNC management, strategic alliances, market entries, and international entrepreneurship. Although earlier IB activity seems to be the exclusive territories for large firms, this may no longer be the case anymore. Also, nowadays we pay explicit attention to both mature operations and startups, as well as the increasingly important alliances activities that bridge these two areas.
MNC management can be divided into three categories. First is global strategies. A key insight of traditional IB research is that MNCs face a substantial liability of foreignness, which leads to non-trivial costs. To overcome such a liability, traditional perspectives stress that MNCs need to equip their overseas subsidiaries with certain firm-specific advantage. Traditional IB research could not specify these perspectives. RBV met this shortcoming by specifying nature and capabilities of perspectives like administrative heritage and organizational practices. Second is subsidiary capability development. Many IB literature have specified that how MNCs exist because of their capabilities to transfer and exploit knowledge more effectively in the intra-firm context rather than through external markets. However, this research has typically taken a top-down approach, emphasizing how the headquarters provides capabilities to subsidiaries. Subsidiary growth is driven by its own distinctive capabilities developed through the entrepreneurial efforts of subsidiary management rather than given by parent management. Knowledge transfer in subsidiary development will only be successful if it is incentivized and the target subsidiary is motivated to learn. Third is human resource management, a new subfield within human resources. International strategic human resource management has been developed by RBV studies. The theoretical model of ISHRM has three levels that are parent firm, subsidiary, employee. Strategic alliances. From the late 20th century, both corporate world and academic fields of IB and strategy have experienced an alliance revolution. Strategic alliances is a multifaceted phenomena. The RBB focuses on one aspect, that is organizational learning. RBB proposes that capabilities to learn from partners may be a tacit resource underlying a firm's competitive advantage. Alliances between competitors lead to learning race. In some cases, partners contribute to asymmetric knowledge, and in other cases, partners contribute similar knowledge. One recent example of a Canadian company entering into strategic alliances is of Costco Canada, which had a strategic alliances with CIBC Bank for their credit card. Moving forward, market entries. While explaining strategic problems of market entries, RBV differs from TCE on three key dimensions. TCE predicts entry modes because of failure in the external market as an assumption of opportunism. The RBB attributes such failure to a different underlying assumption, that is heterogeneity of firm resources. TCE focuses on one-time entries based on a set of relatively static conditions. The RBV highlights a dynamic and longitudinal process. TCE relates firm-specific advantage as just exploitation, whereas RBV empathizes both exploitation and development of firms. International entrepreneurship. Earlier, IB research focused on large MNCs only, and entrepreneurship studies focused on small and medium-sized enterprises. Earlier also, in long run, successful SMEs transitioned into big firms through a time-consuming step-by-step process. But in the modern world, some small companies have internationalized rapidly, challenging the step-by-step model, which gave rise to the new concept of international entrepreneurship. RBV supports this concept by explaining how small SMEs succeed abroad rapidly without following the step-by-step process. Reasons behind such rapid international growth is excellent knowledge of global opportunities and equally superb capability to leverage such knowledge in a way not matched by competitors. In Canada, as of December 2020, 99.8% of Canadian business were SMEs who accounted for 43% of export revenues.
So in this slide we talk about emerging market strategies. RBV helps to uncover challenges of competition in emerging economies. Some studies found significant early mover advantages in China. Moreover, MNCs from emerging economies need greater resource commitment and more diverse experience in a variety of local settings to become successful. Moreover, alliance is a common entry mode used by firms from emerging economies. Studies conducted in several emerging economies show local firms are interested in using alliances to acquire advantages over their domestic rivals. Therefore, they tend to alliance with MNCs for better access to local markets, financial assets, and technical capabilities. Moving on is state-owned enterprises. They have a high attention among researchers because they often compete or collaborate with MNCs, but state-owned enterprises have a shortage of technological, financial, and managerial resources, so their growth is problematic. Therefore, they have started strategic alliances and networks with both foreign and domestic firms to develop their capabilities. Agriculture Finance Financial Services Corporation, Alberta Capital Finance Authority are the examples of SOEs in Canada. Moving further, privatization is common in emerging economies, but due to organizational and managerial imbalances, highlights the need for effective capital markets to attract more MNCs to invest in these countries. Also, when it comes to conglomerates or business groups simply means a parent company which has more subsidiaries. Conglomerates are usually diversified. They gain competitive advantage by related and unrelated diversification. But it is debatable that how diversified conglomerates can add value to the emerging economy. RBV argues that conglomerates' capability in multiple industry entries can be maintained as a valuable, rare, and immutable skill only as long as uneven foreign trade and investment conditions exist. Magna International and Ambridge are examples for Canadian conglomerates. IBV has contributed to IB with a wide range of research topics ranging from global strategies of MNCs to entrepreneur activities of startups active in certain emerging economies. Also, IB has contributes to RBV too in identification of international knowledge and experience as a valuable unique that differentiates winners from losers and mere survivors in global competition. There is a need for research on unification between RBV and research on first mover advantages and disadvantages, especially in an IB setting.
Now we will have a look on the Canadian economy. The first company we can use as an example of an MNC is Lululemon. The clothing company, which was founded in 1998 in Vancouver, has expanded its business worldwide and uses different approaches to enhance the company's performance. The article found a positive link between international diversification and multinational performance. The company tries to improve the firm's performance on three different levels: parent firm, subsidiary, and employee level. For example, this can be seen in the experience of their directors, which leads to a high tactic knowledge of internationalization. Lululemon has a high commitment to international diversification with a yearly budget of 5 million Canadian dollars to reach its goal of at least 40% racially diverse representation in their stores and 30% in directors and assistant store managers by 2023. The company has adopted a specific approach to internationalization that includes strategic alliances in form of link alliances, in which partners contribute asymmetric knowledge. The strategic sales method pairs with local entrepreneurs when it can be used as an advantage for the company. For example, the company provides licenses and supply arrangements with partners in the Middle East and Mexico, which grant them the right to operate Lululemon branded retail locations. These are provided when there's an advantage to partnering with these companies and individuals with significant experience and proven success in certain target markets. These alliances are mainly built because of high differences in culture and law to decrease non-trivial costs that companies otherwise would face. Furthermore, Lululemon doesn't own or operate production facilities and has outsourced the production completely for higher financial efficiency. The next company we will have a look on is Blockthrough. Blockthrough is a software company founded in 2016 in Toronto, which created software that helps publishers recover revenue lost to ad blocking. The company is a perfect example of the topic of international entrepreneurship discussed in the article. In the article, the stage model is challenged by various researchers. According to it, one reason for success is superb tactic knowledge about global opportunities, which helps companies to succeed without going through every stage of the model. Blockchain realized that publishing websites were losing up to 40% of income because of ad blockers and developed software to recover this revenue. This tactic knowledge of global opportunity allowed them to leverage its knowledge worldwide and have customers around the globe, only 6 years after they were founded. Since the company focused on global opportunities from 2016 on, they had fewer barriers to overcome when going abroad.